The following is an HDNet news and documentaries presentation.
Also, a fighting chance. That's all one former soldier is asking for. After surviving Iraq and Afghanistan, he wants a shot at big-time college football.
How much have your skills diminished since you were at your peak in high school?
They have not diminished whatsoever. I've gotten bigger, stronger, faster, I jump higher. Ultimately, I am peaking. I don't even feel like I'm at my peak yet.
This past Sunday, millions of Americans tuned in to watch the Super Bowl, to cheer on exceptional athletes, many idolized as heroes. Football has been called a metaphor for war. Two armies, often beaten and bloody, facing off on a field of battle. But lest we forget, America is a nation still fighting real wars, where notions of heroism take on a whole different meaning. Tonight, you will meet a young man for whom war and football have come together in a remarkable way. He was recognized for his bravery on the battlefield, then returned home carrying a promise to a fallen friend to trade the horrors of war for glory on the gridiron. Arlington National Cemetery is this country's most famous home to heroes. Row after perfect row of markers, signifying the final resting place for servicemen and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice. On a recent winter day, we joined a former soldier who often comes to Arlington to honor his fallen comrades. Names he will never forget.
Martin, Gallegos, Kirk, Scusa, Hart, Griffin, Thompson, and Mace. All killed in Afghanistan on October 3rd, 2009.
Daniel Rodriquez has lost too many friends. A former Army infantryman who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, he visits this hallowed ground at least once a month to heal.
You're the heroes. We fought so hard, man. No. Fucking killed a lot of them.
Arlington is kind of like, everything just comes at me, it just rushes to me. It's like, I look around, I see all those guys, I see my Mace, it's just like, it hits me. It hits me hard. It's just one of those days that I can never overcome. I just always just want to just make sure I live my life to honor them. They gave everything. They gave their last breath to this country.
And in their memory, this 24-year-old is trying to fulfill a promise to do something extraordinary with the rest of his life. Daniel Rodriquez knows that often the only difference between life and death on the battlefield comes down to a matter of luck. Sergeant Rodriquez is lucky to be alive, and he's determined to make the most of it. So this 5'8", 175-pound bundle of energy is transferring all the pain and loss from war towards a single-minded goal: to play Division I big-time college football.
Ready, go.
I met him recently near his home in Northern Virginia, where he's training 6 days a week, 5 hours a day, no shortcuts, no wavering from his new mission.
When I go to Arlington and I see my friends that are buried there, It's like something that totally motivates me. That's what gets me up at 6 a.m. every morning to work out. So kind of doing it for them.
Rodriquez was born and raised in Stafford, Virginia. Growing up, he always loved playing sports.
I played sports because I was an athlete, something I did my whole life. And it just became second nature to me. Since I was in middle school, I was being recruited by the high school to play both football and basketball.
His high school football coach knows a natural athlete when he sees one.
He was the type of kid that felt he could do anything all the time.
Jeff Berry coaches at regional powerhouse Brook Point High School, where several players have gone on to Division I college programs. He said that while Rodriquez was undersized, he made up for it with heart.
He wanted the ball in every situation, and the other players were drawn to him. So it was fun having him on the team, definitely. He was the guy that kind of rallied his teammates and made them feel like we could win in any situation.
Towards the end of high school, Rodriquez's life started to come apart. In his junior year, his parents separated, and then shortly after he graduated from high school, his future was shattered.
4 days after I graduated, my father passed away of a heart attack. So it wasn't so much that I wanted to join the military. I was kind of under the impression that Dad was going to send me to school or send me to a college. And then as soon as that happened, it was one of those turning points in my life where I had to become the man of the house.
Just 3 weeks after he buried his father, he enlisted in the Army. And a few months later, he found himself heading off to war in Iraq.
As soon as I was on the first helicopter in Iraq, we were getting shot at coming in. So that was an eye-opener of what the hell have I done?
Rodriquez spent 12 months in Baghdad during the surge in 2007. His unit lost 12 soldiers, he says mostly to roadside bombs.
You served this tour in Iraq. You came back stateside for how long?
About 12 months, a little over 12 months.
And then?
Right to Afghanistan. We knew we were going to have a toe-to-toe fight out there, but we just didn't know how bad it was going to be or what we were getting ourselves into at that time.
How bad was it?
My first day in Afghanistan, we flew in at about midnight, and that next morning we got attacked. So I was 2 for 2, first day in country getting attacked.
And Rodriquez says that's the reality of Afghanistan. Fighting that was so frequent and intense, he thought no one would believe it unless he captured it with a video camera.
I was a dumbass, but I mean, it got so bad. We were getting attacked all the time. I was just like thinking to myself, I was like, I gotta document this. Like, you know, one day I want my grandkids to see what I went through. I mean, it's just unreal how much fighting we were doing out there. So we would get attacked, the contact would kick off, and there I would be before I even fired a single round, turning on my camera, just like a cameraman, making sure I got the action, because, I mean, it was unreal.
As the weeks stretched on, the tension at the outpost increased, especially as word reached Rodriquez and his fellow soldiers that Taliban fighters were planning something big.
We kept getting reports that we were going to get overrun by 300 plus Taliban. But I mean, after a month or two, you just kind of blow it off because you think they're just messing with you.
You were how many at this outpost?
35 to 36, I believe. Just under 40. So we were actually shorthanded when we got attacked. We had less soldiers there since people had gone home for their R&R. So the morning of October 3rd, I woke up around 5 a.m. to go down to use the computer. I was wearing shorts and tennis shoes and a t-shirt and my plate-carrying vest and a helmet and a pistol. And the first rocket hit, and I was just like, okay, here we go. Just another day in Afghanistan. And then the second rocket hit, the third rocket hit. I just remember going to the door, and I just charged my 9mm, and I could hear the bullets coming in. And my buddy was like, I said, wish me luck, you know, just always joking around. And that was probably the scariest run of my life. So I had to run 300 meters back up to my post under fire. And I remember coming around the corner, and I was just like looking up in the mountains, and I just saw sparks everywhere, just muzzle flashes coming out, and I couldn't turn around. The rocks were hitting my legs from the bullets whizzing past me and hitting by my ankles. So I just told myself I'm just going to zigzag and try to make a run for it. And I was just shooting the whole entire way. And then I ran out of ammo. And then I had no cover for the last 100 meters of my run. And I just ran through, and I didn't get hit.
His goal was to make it to his position, where he manned a machine gun with his good friend, PFC Kevin Thompson from Reno, Nevada.
As soon as I made it to the top, I got on the 240. I charged the 240, and my buddy Thompson was coming out. He was just waking up, and he came out to get on the gun with me to start fighting.
What happened to PFC Thompson?
He walked out in front of me while I was shooting, and he pointed up Taliban all up along the ridgeline. I probably saw about 12 to 13 on that side, and I was just shooting at them, just trying to keep their heads down. And as soon as he walked in front of me, I just saw him like stiff, and he dropped his rifle, and like his knees buckled. He got hit in the head, and he dropped right by my feet. And then I knew it was bad. I knew it wasn't an average firefight.
Including Thompson, the unit lost 8 soldiers, and Rodriquez was among the 22 wounded. In these pictures Rodriquez took of the aftermath, you can see the damage. After nearly 12 hours of combat, some inside the wire, an estimated 150 Taliban were killed. Known as the Battle of Kamdesh, it was among the bloodiest of the entire Afghan war, and it earned Sergeant Rodriquez a Bronze Star. Rodriquez soon returned home and left the Army when his commitment was complete. Today, the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart hang on a bulletin board, far from public view, in his bedroom.
I recognize you don't want to talk about it in great detail, but the Bronze Star, not everybody who goes through a battle gets a Bronze Star.
It was written up, heroic actions under fire, and presented to me just because I didn't stop fighting. Came down to me throwing hand grenades and killing at point blank range. There was 2 of us fighting off a whole entire side of the battleground, and we pretty much kept a whole entire wing from being overrun on our side. I had been wounded, and I just still fought. I just couldn't get over the fact that my buddy was dead out there, and they were gonna get away with it. And I hit that point where I knew I was gonna die, like I said, and I was just gonna kill as many of them before they killed me. I know how many they were, but I wasn't gonna stop shooting until it was done. And it just wasn't my day to go. So, and I got a medal for it.
For what are you fighting when you're there and you're doing it?
For the guy next to you. I don't give a damn who Tommy Taliban is. I don't know him. I had orders. But whenever you try to put my life in jeopardy and the life of my men, I'm gonna kill you. And that's what I did. And they hit somebody that was my guy. They hit my best friend. And they had to pay.
And for Rodriquez, his life would become all about a conversation he'd had with his best friend, Kevin Thompson, not long before Thompson died.
About 3 weeks before the fight happened, we seriously were talking to him. He wanted to go back and be a butcher. And I was like, well, you better do it. He's like, I'll do it. He's like, you better play football. I was like, well, let's promise each other we're going to get out and do it. And we did. And I told him I'd give him my word that I'd do everything I could to play football someday. And when I got out, I was going to try to walk on. And at the time, I just was kind of saying it. I didn't really take to heart how serious that I was going to be about it until he was killed.
When he came home, Daniel Rodriquez decided to channel his anger as determination. In a new battle, he's still fighting every day. That part of the story is next.